Taiwan housing loans strain mortgage market. Wen-je Investigated in Living Mall scandal. Jody Chiang's comeback sparks fans' legal threat. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan meets with Xi. Macron has blocked left-wing choice for French PM. Brazil suspects criminals set record São Paulo fires. Typhoon Shanshan makes landfall in Japan. University professor to fly into space for first-of-its-kind experiment.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, August 30th, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, the surge in housing loans driven by the Youth Housing Loan Program has tightened Taiwan's mortgage market. Banks face a full capacity crisis, with many suspending new applications or raising loan criteria. Experts warn this financial strain could persist through the year, extending transaction times. Some banks, like DBS and Standard Chartered, still have lending capacity, while others have halted processing. Taiwan People's Party Chairman Wen-je is now under investigation for alleged corruption related to Taipei's living mall development. Taipei prosecutors searched Kuo's residence and detained 3 individuals, including former Deputy Mayor Shanshan, as part of the ongoing probe into rezoning that increased the floor area ratio from 560% to 840% and potential bribery. Taiwanese singer Jody, who retired in 2015, will make a comeback at Taipei Dome for the National Day concert on October 5th. A fan who spent over 100,000 NT dollars on farewell concert memorabilia feels deceived and is considering legal action. And in global news, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in Beijing on Thursday, a day after the White House announced that President Joe Biden and Xi would speak by phone in the coming weeks. Sullivan's trip to China, his first in this role, comes amid rising military tensions between China and U.S. allies in the Asia-Pacific. Washington has criticized the increasing Chinese pressure on Taiwan and Beijing's military actions in the South China Sea, a strategically important waterway that China claims almost in its entirety.
The U.S. and China have been working to improve communication between their militaries to reduce the risk of conflict in the region. Earlier on Thursday, Sullivan met with General Zhang Yusha, vice chairman of China's Central Military Commission, marking the highest-level public engagement the Biden administration has had with the Chinese military. In his meeting with Zhang, Sullivan stressed that both countries have a responsibility to prevent competition from veering into conflict or confrontation. Sullivan arrived in Beijing on Tuesday for 2 days of talks with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi as part of an effort to address tensions in what is widely considered the world's most important bilateral relationship.
France's President Emmanuel Macron launched a new round of talks with political party leaders on Tuesday to find a way to form a new government and appoint a prime minister. The French political system was thrown into chaos on Monday night when Macron refused to appoint the candidate proposed for prime minister by the left-wing New Popular Front alliance, following a weekend of talks between party leaders. While the NFP won the most seats in the recent parliamentary elections, it did not secure an overall majority.
The NFP, composed of France Unbowed, LFI, the Socialist Party, PS, the Greens, EELV, and the Communist Party, PCF, had proposed a relatively unknown civil servant, Lucie Castetz, 37, for the prime ministerial role. However, the alliance's lack of a majority in the National Assembly, combined with its failure to gain support for its candidate from the other 2 alliances, Macron's centrist Ensemble Alliance and the far-right National Rally, means it would struggle to function effectively as a government. Macron's decision has sparked fury within the left-wing alliance, with some lawmakers calling for his impeachment.
Government officials in Brazil suspect that criminals are behind the record number of fires that have devastated large swaths of São Paulo state. Wolf, the head of Brazil's National Office for Protection and Civil Defense, stated that 99.9% of the blazes in the state were caused by human action. He noted that there had been no lightning strikes or downed high-voltage cables to explain the large number of fires. 4 people have been arrested. Officials have not said what the motive of those setting the fires may have been.
Environment Minister Marina Silva called the situation unusual, noting that her team had not seen so many fires ignite in far-flung locations simultaneously. Data from the space agency INPE suggests that the number of fires burning in Sao Paulo in August has been higher than in any August since it began collecting data in 1998. The agency has registered 5,281 fires so far this month, compared with 1,104 during the same period last year. 2 people have died, and more than 20,000 hectares have been destroyed. Large sugarcane fields are among those razed to the ground.
A typhoon left southern Japan with torrential rain and strong winds Thursday, causing at least 4 deaths as it began its slow crawl up the archipelago, raising concerns about flooding, landslides, and extensive damage. The Japan Meteorological Agency said Typhoon Shanshan made landfall in the morning in southern Kyushu, where up to 23.6 inches of rain could fall in 24 hours. It also warned that the typhoon would bring strong winds, high waves, and significant rainfall to most of the country, particularly the southern prefectures of Kyushu, and issued its highest level warnings.
People in the warned areas were urged to take shelter in community centers and other public facilities. By mid-morning, Shanshan was still near the southern island of Kyushu, moving north at 9 miles per hour with sustained winds of 89 miles per hour and higher gusts. Before the typhoon's arrival, heavy rain caused a landslide that buried a house in the central city of Gamagori, killing 3 residents and injuring 2 others. On the southern island of Amami, where the typhoon had already passed, 1 person was knocked down by a gust of wind while riding a motorcycle. Weather and government officials are concerned about extensive damage as the typhoon slowly sweeps up the Japanese archipelago over the next few days, threatening floods and landslides.
A university professor is about to venture out of this world to carry out a science experiment decades in the making. Robert Furrow, director of the University of Florida's UF Australia Space Institute, will board a Blue Origin New Shepard capsule on Thursday to test the effects of microgravity on cells, specifically what happens to biology as it leaves Earth's surface and returns from space. Furrow will be on the Blue Origin flight for 15 minutes as it launches from Launch Site 1 in West Texas before entering space.
Also on board the flight will be 8 highly specialized fixation tubes that provide a highly contained, safe environment for the plants that the researchers will monitor. 2 will be activated before the flight, 2 during the flight, 2 just after the booster completes the ascent into space and enters microgravity, 2 just before re-entering Earth's atmosphere, and 2 more once the crew lands back on the ground. Furrow said, "This will give us the ability to sample the 4 very critical parts of the flight regime in order to understand the transition that biology experiences at the molecular level during the various parts of the flight."
The answer for yesterday was B, scramble. The firefighters had to scramble to rescue the people from the burning building. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Brazil suspects criminals set records of hollow fires. Number 1, alliance. 国家政党的结盟、联盟、同盟. The Social Democrats are now in alliance with the Greens. Number 2, effective. 产生预期结果的、有效的. Aspirin is a simple but highly effective treatment. Number 3, spark. 引发、触发. The proposal would spark a storm of protest around the country. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced next week. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.